Today, we're diving into the story of John Hyrcanus, a ruler from ancient Judea whose life, as told by the historian Josephus, is just an incredible lesson in power, war, and the strange burden of prophecy. Let's get into his dramatic rise and the dark vision that would come to define his entire legacy. So, as Josephus tells it, our story kicks off with a perfect, almost too good to be true window of opportunity. See, his main rival, the Syrian king Antiochus, was off on an expedition. Hyrcanus saw his chance to settle some scores and expand his territory. And believe me, he did not wait around. And that first move, well, it set the stage for a whole series of brilliant and pretty brutal military campaigns that would literally redraw the map of the entire region. Hyrcanus wasn't just playing defense. He was building a brand new, powerful nation from the ground up. The scale of what he did right out of the gate was, wow, it was remarkable. He took a huge gamble that the Syrian cities would be vulnerable, and he was right. He just swept through, conquering key places like Medaba and Samaria in Syria, taking on the Chuthians in Samaria, and capturing major cities in Idumea like Adorion and Marisa. But all of that was just the opening act. Hyrcanus had his eyes on a much, much bigger prize, the heavily fortified and powerful city of Samaria. If he could take that city, everyone would know who was in charge. The siege of Samaria was a whole saga in itself. Hyrcanus actually handed the job to his sons, Aristobulus and Antigonus, and they just systematically choked the city, pushing it to the brink of starvation. The Samaritans got so desperate they called on King Antiochus for help, and he did send an army, but Hyrcanus' sons were incredible generals. They didn't just beat the relief army, they chased them clean out of the region before coming back to finish the job. And the ending was absolutely ruthless. Samaria was captured, completely demolished, and all its people were sold into slavery. I mean, this wasn't just a victory, it was an annihilation. By the time his armies were done, Hyrcanus had laid waste to the entire country, all the way up to Mount Carmel. His control was now completely undisputed. But you know how it is, right? When a leader gets that powerful and crushes all their enemies on the outside, new problems almost always start popping up closer to home. What happens when the conquering king finally returns? Well, it turns out the very success that made his nation a powerhouse started to poison things from within. The spoils of war, as it happened, included a whole lot of envy and outright rebellion. Josephus really just lays it out for us. The incredible triumphs of Hyrcanus and his sons didn't make everyone happy and loyal. Nope. Instead, it sparked a ton of jealousy from people who felt like they were being left out of all this new power and glory. And that jealousy quickly turned into active resistance. Now, Hyrcanus was not the kind of guy to tolerate a challenge. He turns that military machine of his inward. A full-on war broke out inside his own nation, but the rebels, well, they were no match for him and his armies. He completely crushed the rebellion, proving his authority was absolute, whether he was abroad or right there at home. So, having taken care of every single enemy, foreign and domestic, Hyrcanus enters this final and, honestly, the most extraordinary phase of his life. It was a time of peace, defined by this unique combination of blessings that, according to Josephus, no other ruler ever had. 33 years. Just think about that. For over 3 decades, he governed his people. After a life that was just one relentless conflict after another, he got to spend his final years in a state that the historian calls profoundly happy and successful. And this right here is what makes Hyrcanus' story so unique. Josephus claims he was the only person to have the 3 things that anyone in that time could ever possibly want, this perfect trifecta of power. So what were these 3 things? Okay, first, total political power as the ruler of his nation. Second, the highest spiritual authority as the high priest. And third, something truly special, the gift of prophecy. The guy was a king, a priest, and a prophet, all rolled into one. And listen, when we say prophecy, we're not talking about a vague gut feeling about the future. According to the text, this was a direct line, a conversation with the divine. It means he knew everything that was going to happen, which gave him a level of insight that was just unheard of. But here's the tragic irony of this incredible gift. When you know everything about the future, you also see the things you desperately wish you didn't. And his prophetic sight revealed a painful, awful truth that would completely undermine everything he'd built. The man who built a kingdom from scratch, who secured its borders and crushed every single enemy, was forced to watch its future collapse. He actually prophesied that his own sons would fail, that they wouldn't be able to hold on to the power he had so brilliantly won. His amazing reign ended not with a bang, but with the quiet, dark certainty that his family's dynasty was doomed. It really makes you wonder, right? Is a gift that shows you something like that, is it truly a blessing, or is it the ultimate curse?